So good to have you. And Ajay ji has sent a message. He might not be able to make it. He's visiting somewhere. And Mataji hasn't said something, but last time Mataji couldn't make it because of family issues. So good to have you. And Haribo. So, Harish Prabhuji, let's start the session, and other devotees might join during the process. Hare Krishna. Let's start with Manglacharan. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnana-Jana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalunathavitam Tam Savivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Vedam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Garangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudai Devi Karmami Haripuri Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Jayatidanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, from Pranam to you.
I hope everyone in the family is okay, Mataji.
No, one is still in the hospital. My brother-in-law is still being treated, and perhaps we can know some idea next week what's happening.
Next week.
Yeah. So I'm still with my sister's house, supporting her. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. It's always good to have family together.
Yes.
It's such a shame these days, the kind of environment going on.
Yes.
Anybody could fall sick. Another devotee friend, he's in the Middle East, and only today I got in touch. I did a session in the morning for Chaitanya Charitamrita class, and he sent me the message that he could not attend it. And the reason was because a couple of days back, he had to be hospitalized because he had the acute pain. And I spoke to him 2 days back. So just after the call, he said within a couple of hours, he felt a very bad pain, and then he was rushed to the hospital, and it was kidney. So I think 8 to 10 millimeters of stone was found in his kidney. And I know he has been a great devotee, at least for 15 years. And not sure how he developed that, but because obviously always take prasadam, and he's very, very active. Then he had to go through the operation. So it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, especially when devotees go through it.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, they drained about 3 liters of fluid from his lungs.
Wow.
And we didn't know till he became a bit short of breath. And then his son organized GP call, and he has to go to the hospital. So he's been there since about 10 days. And they're looking as to find out the reason. Because so far, they're treating him as infection. But we have to know what is the why it is so much good collected. So
True.
we are waiting for those news, Prabhuji.
I hope it will be okay, Mataji.
Hope so. We are all hoping. Yeah. Thank you for asking, Prabhuji, and thank you for your prayers.
Well, it's a small family, Mataji. I remember there's a kind of meditation I did, and in that meditation, the spiritual teacher, he said, so in that meditation, right at the end, we do Maitri. Maitri is friendship. And we do Maitri meditation for everyone in the globe. And it's based on Vedic, what we call Shanti Path. So the Shanti Path, the way it goes, it doesn't differentiate between anyone. It says everyone. I would like to send these friendship vibes to everyone who could fly, who's a reptile, and whether living or non-living. So devotees should be like that. So we are a small family, and so we should take care of each other. We should always keep each other in the blessings, in the prayers. So
yes, we should. Yes, Prabhuji. Where do you find time? You do so much, Prabhuji.
It's Krishna, Mataji does help. As it says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reciprocates. Yes. So the only thing we need to have is the desire. That if you have the desire to serve. So I was in touch with Sutapa Prabhuji. We are developing these new courses for School of Bhakti. And it's the same thing. He's busy. He's even busier than anyone else who could think of. But still, just because he would like to serve, it's amazing how he finds the time. Of course, my busyness is a bit different because I have a family as well. But he's all spiritual and he lives in the temple. So it's a very busy time for him, especially the festival period recently gone. So we will get in touch again soon. But it's always good to be busy, Mataji. I've realized like our weekends are very busy. And from tomorrow, Sundays, we will be back on manner. The kids are going to start. I used to do Bhakti Shastri. I'm doing Bhakti Vaibhav now from Mayapur Institute online in the morning. But after that, we will drive to Manor in the morning. So the kids will be back.
Every Sunday?
Every Sunday, Mataji. Yes, yeah.
You live in South London. It's quite south like me, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, I live in Sutton. It's South London, yeah. So it will take 1.5 hours, 1.25, depends on the traffic. Sometimes on the return, it could be 2 hours. Like we used to do 29.
Do you go through M25 or through the...
Yes, M25, yeah. It's a long, but a faster.
Yeah, once I tried to go on M25 2 Sundays back. It was so chock-a-block.
Yes.
I had to turn around and I went via Putney Bridge. I find it a little bit, but you may be leaving early, so it may be a bit less busy at that time.
Yes. I used to leave very early, like 6:30, quarter to 7.
Yeah.
But now because my daughter got the class, she's doing Bharatnatyam, 8:30 to 9:30. So we will leave after that. So it could be busy, but we will see. We will see how it goes.
We'll see. Yes.
It's a good association.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So let's resume back. Hare Krishna, Abhishek ji, Hare Krishna, Harish ji. Thank you so much for being here. And Hare Krishna. Hare Dhanyavad. So good to hear you. Abhishek ji, आपको सुन के अच्छा लगा. और हम बहुत ही अच्छे टॉपिक को डिस्कस करने वाले हैं अब. जो टॉपिक हमारा महातत्व जिसे हम कहते हैं, जहां से प्रकृति शुरू होती है, तो पुरुष प्रकृति. So let's discuss this one. Spiritual and material worlds, we have already discussed all of them or most of them. We are coming back to Devi Dham now. At the bottom, we are going to be here. So currently we are discussing this part, which is Mahesh Dham, Shiv Loka. And we will see why we call it Shiv Loka. We said Viraj River, Causal Oceans. This is what we discussed. तो हमने last class में जो discuss किया था वो विराज रिवर, कॉजल ओशियन जिसे हम कहते हैं, भगवान महाविष्णु के रूप में वहां पे विस्तरित होते हैं. So Lord Krishna expand himself into Mahavishnu. As it says, when the Lord wants to create, so Lord wants to create, not Lord needs to create. Sankarshan expands and Karnodakshaya Vishnu. And this is what we saw here, that Lord Krishna, Balram, Sankarshan 1, Narayan, and Sankarshan 2. So from Sankarshan 2, we get Mahavishnu, then later we will see Garbhodakshaya and Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So that's where we are. So from Sankarshan, we get Mahavishnu. And this is Karnodakshaya Vishnu because this ocean is Karnodakshaya, Karan, Koja. This is Vaikunt. Vishnu is there. From there, we get Mahavishnu. We can see from the pores of Mahavishnu, we get numerous of bubbles, if we say. And each bubble is, the way we say, under. It's like an egg. And we will see later, as it says here, that this is Mahavishnu. This is on the left. We can see Goloka chart. So हम उल्टे हाथ की तरफ देख सकते हैं, गोलोका चार्ट है. और यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें तो इस हिस्से में हम हैं अभी. तो इससे ऊपर स्पिरिचुअल है, इससे नीचे मटेरियल अभी शुरू होगा. तो इसके नीचे हम देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे महाविष्णु है. ये महाविष्णु अगर हमने एक्सपैंड किया तो कार्णोदक्षाय विष्णु के रूप में यहाँ पे दिखते हैं हम. So going further, we said that from his perspirations, so the way we humans, we perspire, and from the pores of our skin, we get the perspiration, we get the sweat. Similarly, Karnodakshaya Vishnu gives birth to Brahmand, universes, from the pores of his skin. Then he said this Karan is Vraja river. And there we are going further. And now from the glance of his, we get Rama Devi, which is not different than Lakshmi Devi, the eternal consort. So different names. Whenever Krishna comes in a form, then Lakshmi Ji, the female consort, is always there in the form of energy. We need to understand this is not male and female kind of thing. तो हमें समझने की जरूरत है, जब हम कृष्ण और राधा की बात करते हैं, हम शिव पार्वती की बात करते हैं, तो इसके अंदर हमको समझना चाहिए ये वैसे मेल फीमेल्स नहीं है जैसे हम मटीरियली होते हैं. यहाँ पे हम शक्तिमान और शक्ति की बात करते हैं, द एनर्जेटिक एंड एनर्जी, द सोर्स एंड द एक्सपेंशन, द एनर्जी. दैट्स हाउ वी अंडरस्टैंड दिस. It's not really the way we understand male and female. Just for our understanding, the source is there and the expansion, the female form, is there to implement anything, because each and every incarnation has a purpose. So to get that purpose fulfilled, the female consort is there. तो जिस तरीके से कोई भी हम देखते हैं अवतार भगवान लेते हैं, तो उस अवतार का कोई पर्पस होता है और उस अवतार के एक्सपेंशन के लिए वो फीमेल कंसोर्ट भगवान के साथ में होती हैं अगर जरूरत है तो. सो कार्णोदक्षाय विष्णु लेटे हैं. यहाँ पे एक वर्ड यूज होता है स्लम्बर. अगर हम देखें तो महाविष्णु लाइज ऑन दिस ओशियन विच इज स्पिरिचुअल. सो ओशियन इज अ स्पिरिचुअल, इट्स मेड अप ऑफ वेदास. तो जिस ओशियन के अंदर है कार्णोदक्षाय, कौजल विराज रिवर कहें, कौजल ओशियन कहें, वो स्पिरिचुअल है. तो इसलिए ये ट्रांजिशन में है. यहाँ से स्पिरिचुअलिटी धीरे 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 मटेरियल की तरफ जा रही है. हरे कृष्ण माता जी. यस प्लीज.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, is there a significance of the different names of the Mataji? Like here you say Uma Devi. Did you say Uma Devi? Sorry, I'm a bit lost.
Rama
Devi. Yeah, Rama Devi,
yes.
Then Durga Devi, then Lakshmi Ji. So is there, should we sort of give a significance to the names? I think we should.
Yes, we do, Mataji. It's very similar. Then in Bhagavad Gita, if we notice Krishna and Arjun, they both got many different names.
Yes.
Each of them, they address each other taking specific name. Govinda, Gopala, Madhusudana. So Madhusudan, for example, the one who has killed the demon Madhu. So this is the bhava, like when Krishna needs to remind Arjun that you come from that ancestry. where your mother is Kunti. Then Krishna will address Arjun as Kaunteya.
Yeah.
That you don't forget that your mother is Kunti. Have you forgotten about it? Or sometimes he will call him that you need to remember that you are a Pandav because your father is, or again, Kuru, because you come from that dynasty. So definitely, yes, the Uma Devi, Rama Devi, Durga, all these names, they have very specific meanings and significances. And Markandeya Puran gives the last half of Markandeya Puran. If you want to, there used to be a website called vedpuran.com. And I'm not sure, let me just check if that website is still there. Ved Puran website. Yes, vedpuran.com. So, wow, it's still there, which is great. This website used to be there. So this website, I don't know who is the source. I read Puranas. We can have audios of all the Puranas from this website. I will share the link. And it's free of cost. We can, if we want, we can create a link. So I'm not saying that this is Vaishnav or this is Gauriya, this is ISKCON. I don't think so. But many years back, like 15 years back, I read all the Puranas, like 18 Puranas. We can download them in audio, and I printed them as well. We can download the scriptures as well. And in that, if you go for Markandeya Puran, which is not, Markandeya Puran is 8 to 10,000 verses, which is not the biggest. Like biggest is Skanda Puran, 88,000. Then so Skanda Puran is big. And then we have Padma Puran, which is 55,000. That's the second highest. And then we have many down, like 24,000. Then Srimad Bhagavatam, 18,000. 8,000 is the least. So Markandeya Puran between 8 to 10,000. Then Markandeya Puran, the last half, tells us the name of all the Matajis, like how the wives of, wife of Vishnu, Shiv, and Brahmaji, all those three came together and they become Durga. And why? And then, like in Navratri, if we celebrate, then every day of Navratri is dedicated to a specific form of the Mata, of Durga Ma.
Yeah.
So
I'm just writing it down in my iPad, in my phone to remember. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
This is very nice, and this is free of, well, it used to be free of course. I think it's still free. So we can listen if not. However, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost, as it says. But if in case we would like to focus on that specific part, what the names mean, then they are very, very detailed, explained there, which we should. If you want, we can go for it. But thank you so much, Mataji. Definitely the names, they do signify a specific reason. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Now, so Viraja River, if we see, and this is what we saw last time. So as it says, transcendental slumber. And this slumber is Yoga Nidra. And Yoga Nidra is one of those, in Ashtanga Yoga, we say, any yogi would sleep in Yoga Nidra. So Yoga Nidra is an asana. And I was surprised when another friend of mine who was with me, in childhood friend, and he was there with the school, and he's in Norway these days. Norway or Sweden? Sweden, actually, sorry. He's in Malmo, which is in Sweden. And I spoke to him, he got some issues. He's not a devotee as such, but he was suggested some process how he should sleep. And this is coming from the Western world, Western culture. But when he explained this to me, I said, you are defining what Yoga Nidra is. Then I sent him the video of 2 videos I sent, and I said, watch this. And this is explain what Yoga Nidra is. And this is coming from Veda. So this is what Mahavishnu is in, Yoga Nidra. And he replied back, yes, looks like it's, because what I sent was in Hindi. So one was from Baba Ramdev and another one from another yogi. And he said, that's exactly what they are telling. It seems to be different language. He's from Delhi, so he understands Hindi very well. But he said, this is what these guys are saying, but they didn't give me the name of Yog Nidra. Otherwise, I would have searched. So this Yog Nidra is very, very famous in between the yogis. And this is where Mahavishnu is. That's the state of his consciousness, if you think about. But again, the main important thing is that he is there, which is the intentions, the purpose of this Yog Nidra is, or the transcendental slumber, that he's doing this effortlessly. Because he's the Lord, he's not putting any efforts in creation. And we all know if we need to work hard, how much we have to work hard. For example, we will see Brahmaji later, that how much Brahmaji struggled to create, because first he gave birth to 4 Kumaras. They said, we don't want to create, and they went away. Then he gave birth to another one, and he went away. Then he gave birth to 10,000 sons. They all went away. And then that was between Daksha and Naradji. And we will see that later, maybe. But what we're saying is effortlessly. And then with Rama Devi, who's the eternal consort. Now, Rama is the name, like what we say, Rama, pleasant, very pleasant. So Rama Devi is like that pleasant consort. Then moving forward, we say, now this is important, we discuss, as he breathes out from the pores of his body, countless universes which float on the Koyal ocean emanate, like come out, gets originated. And when he breathes in, the universe go back. And this is the time when we discussed, or Abhishek ji has shared something as well, online Sanskrit book. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Abhishek ji. अभिषेक जी ने एक लिंक शेयर किया है जिसके अंदर सारे पुराण हैं, ऑनलाइन संस्कृत बुक्स. So yes, this is also very nice, looks like it. Oh, Narad Mahaprabhu. Okay, great, thank you so much, Abhishek ji. Let me make a note of that. So what we understand from there is that there are 3 different types of Parle. Now, first Parle is devastation. Everything ends. First Parle, when, okay, let's go from the top. The first Parle, when only the earth goes down. Or let's say earth goes down, but the heaven is there. The second Parle, when even the heaven goes down. Heaven means all the demigods. The third Parle, where Brahmaji also goes down. So the first Parle, only the planet Earth goes down. We call them Sandhyas. I think we did them briefly. And when we did Life of Brahma also, that Earth goes down, but the demigods are there and Brahmaji above is there. Then second, demigods go down, Earth goes down, but the Brahmaji is there. Brahmaji got their own, Brahmaji and there are 3 more. All those planets are there. But the next one, even the Brahmaji, the whole Brahman goes down. When the whole Brahman goes down, all the jivas, they don't die. They go back to Mahavishnu. So this is the time when Mahavishnu breathes in and the universe go back into his body. This is the time when Brahmaji dies. So Brahmaji dies, the whole Brahman goes down, disappears. All the jivas go back to, well, obviously, if any of those jivas supposed to go back to spiritual world or somewhere else, will go there. Otherwise, they will go back to Mahavishnu. And when the new Brahman will come, then Mahavishnu will breathe out and all the jivas will go out again. So this will continue until and unless we will surpass Mahavishnu and we will go back to spiritual world. In his body reside trillions of jiva. Now, trillion is just a number, just to say it's massive. Otherwise, it's not million, billion, trillion. It's innumerous, because innumerous Brahman means innumerous jivas who were in the material world previously with unlimited desire. So this is the main idea, is desire, because we want to have it. Now, one thing to understand there is that there is only one Mahavishnu. We will see Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Every Brahmand has a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, but the whole world, material, spiritual, there is only one Mahavishnu. So this is what we need to remember. Then Mahavishnu desired, Ichha Shakti. Ichha is desire, Shakti is that potency. So Mahavishnu desire to liberate these souls or allow them to continue with their trying to fulfill their desires. This is where Lord comes into picture. So we said, oh, Krishna, and I remember we were having Abhishek in a Watford temple at Manor, and another devotee was watching very clearly. And I said, Prabhuji, don't you think that like devotees are giving Abhishek to Krishna? Don't you want Abhishek will happen to you as well? He started laughing. Because obviously sometimes you could read the minds of others. And he's a good friend. And he said, it definitely looks very tempting. Then I thought that's the reason that we all came down to material world. Because we wanted to enjoy like Krishna. And that's so true. That's the reason we are here, because Krishna said, okay, you will enjoy. You go and enjoy yourself. Now how? And Gaurang Prabhuji, I think, gives a very, very vivid and practical example and analogy, saying that like in the family, we have little children. And little children, they say that we want to play. We want to play and we want to have our own kitchen, our own house. Then we buy a toy house for them and they play there. But when they really feel hungry, they cannot cook in their kitchen. They have to come to the mother asking for the real food. And this is where we are. Now, it doesn't really matter how much success, what we consider as success, material success, doesn't really matter how much success, how much fame, name, money, house, cars, clothes, relationship, doesn't really matter how much we get. We will never get satisfied. Similarly, those little kids, they never get satisfied playing with that toy. They can play, but at the end of the day, they will always come back to the parents. Right? They always come back to the parents. And this is why it is. That we, at the end of the day, we always feel the gap of spirituality. And that's the reason. In one form or another, we will look for Krishna. जिस तरीके से हमने यहाँ पे देखा कि इच्छा शक्ति से भगवान जब प्रकट करते हैं, तो डिजायर्स हमारे अंदर हैं. इन डिजायर्स की वजह से ये जो हमारे अंदर इच्छाएं हैं, भोग की इच्छाएं, हमें ये भोगना है, ये भोगना है, सब कुछ भोगना है, उस इच्छा की वजह से यहाँ है. जब हमारे अंदर से इच्छाएं खत्म हो जाएंगी, हम वापस भगवान के धाम जा सकते हैं. तो बिल्कुल जिस तरीके से गौरांग प्रभु जी ने अपने एक लेक्चर में एनालॉजी एग्जाम्पल के रूप में बताया, जैसे एक बच्चा होता है, एक टॉय हाउस के साथ में खेलता है, वहां पे उसका डॉल्स होती हैं, उसके लिए वो खाना बनाता है, लेकिन जब भूख लगती है तो वो खाना वो खुद नहीं खा सकता. वो जितना मर्जी प्रिटेंड कर ले कि मैं खा रहा हूँ, लेकिन भूख लगेगी तो फिर बाद में माँ के पास ही जाना पड़ता है, पेरेंट्स के पास ही जाना पड़ता है. तो बिल्कुल इसी तरीके से हम लोगों को भी, हम मटीरियल नहीं है, बॉडी मटीरियल है. इस बॉडी को हम जितना मर्जी मटीरियल सुख दे लें, लेकिन एट द एंड जो हमारी आत्मा है, जो सोल है, वो स्पिरिचुअल है, और उसको जो स्पिरिचुअल फूड चाहिए वो हमको फिर स्पिरिचुअलिटी से ही मिल सकता है, वो कृष्णा से ही मिल सकता है. सो वी शुड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट, always. So now what happens? Now the material world is getting started. Material world, before material world will start, the preparation is going on. तो अब भौतिक संसार, अध्यात्म से भौतिक संसार की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं, और ये बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स है. तो हम देखेंगे, हम होपफुली कहीं कंफ्यूज ना हो, क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है, अच्छा भगवान तो क्या, भगवान स्पिरिचुअल हैं, भगवान क्या मटेरियल के टच में आते हैं. विष्णु इज, बिकॉज वी ऑलवेज से विष्णु is like Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu will never come in touch with the Maya. And this is Maya Devi. So Maya Devi will give birth to the material world. But he will never come in touch. How exactly that happens? So that's what we are going to see. And it's very technical, especially when we will come to Mahatattva. And Mahatattva is very interesting if we try to understand, but we will understand. We will look into it. So he glances. So Mahavishnu glances towards Rama Devi, whose shadow becomes Maya. Now again, shadow and glances, these are just the borrowed words from English. अगर हम देखें ये जो वर्ड्स यहाँ पे होते हैं, ग्लांस किया, दिव्य दृष्टि डाली, शेडो छाया, ये वर्ड्स हैं हम जो लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में यूज करते हैं या हिंदी में यूज करते हैं, लेकिन हम समझना चाहें तो हम विस्तार में समझ सकते हैं कि विस्तार हो रहा है भगवान का। और इन्हीं वर्ड्स के अंदर कभी कभी हम कंफ्यूज भी होते हैं, तो बस हमें इस तरीके से समझना चाहिए, महाविष्णु इज देयर, from Mahavishnu's vision, so no physical touch, from Mahavishnu's vision, Rama Devi appears, and from Rama Devi's shadow, again further expansion, Maya Devi comes in. Between Maya Devi and Vishnu, we have Rama Devi. So Maya Devi and Vishnu, they are not in touch. But still, Maya Devi could be considered as the expansion of Vishnu. Why? Because Rama Devi is the source and Rama Devi's sources is Mahavishnu. So that's where people conflict, confuse, and kind of do the discussions, arguments. But we don't really need to. What we can understand, Mahavishnu is considered as beyond material mode of nature, even beyond goodness. Even though he makes the use of goodness when he will get into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, because he is the one who maintains in mode of goodness. But currently we are in Karnodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. तो जिस तरीके से हम देख सकते हैं कि माया देवी, हरे कृष्ण, अभिषेक जी प्लीज ऐड करें।
प्रभु जी, गर्भोदक्षाय विष्णु नहीं, क्षीरोदक्षाय विष्णु, who takes the mode of goodness.
जी हम ठीक है, हाँ जी अभिषेक जी, जब हम आगे बात करते हैं अपना ब्रह्मांड में शुरू करेंगे तब हम उसके ऊपर और डिस्कस करते हैं, तब आप और बताइएगा उसके बारे में। आप जो कह रहे हैं वो सही कह रहे हैं और मैं समझ सकता हूँ आप किस वजह से वो कह रहे हैं। ठीक है जी, यस माता जी।
Then it's just like a multiple choice question that who created the material world, and there'll be number of options.
Yes.
Yes. So
yes.
So what should be the answer?
A lot of time, Mataji, it depends. It's like in the school, if somebody will say, who is your teacher? And teacher could be maths teacher, English teacher, science teacher. Now if somebody will ask, who is your maths teacher? Then we know maths teacher. Yeah. And somebody will say, who is the head of the department here? Then head of the department could be the head of primary, head of secondary, head of maths teacher. So all the maths teacher come under the head of the department. And then there could be the head of the university. So it really depends the kind of question. If somebody will say that we say material mode of nature, so who gives birth to material mode of nature? Then Durga Devi we can say. But who gives birth to Kala? Then there is a difference. And that's where we will see. So if I will take the next slide. In this we see, so this we call as Sadashiv Loka. Now Sadashiv Loka is spiritual, being above the line. But then we have Mahakala. So Kala is time. And this is the very first time we have used this word. And now we are out of spiritual world. So Kala, time, is that ingredient from where we are going to get the material world. So it's very hard to say what is the source of material world, because there are many different sources. And that's where we will see Mahatattva. Because Mahatattva is the combination of all. But above Mahatattva, we have Pradhana. We have, so then we will see Purush, Pradhan, Prakriti. And these things are very technical. In Srimad Bhagavatam, being explained very nicely. And Abhishek ji says, desire is ours, creator is Mahavishnu. Yes, that's right. So Mahavishnu, because if we understand, obviously Lord Krishna could be considered as the source of everything. But from Lord Krishna, Mahavishnu comes. And the sole purpose of Mahavishnu is for material world. Mahavishnu, if you think about it, there is no other purpose or reason for his existence. From the pores of his body, the Brahmand comes out, and later we see Rama Devi, Maya Devi, Shambhu, and then later Shiva, and then later the Brahman, we see Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then the rest of it. So we can also say Mahavishnu, but then we also say Shambhu and Maya Devi, because they will also come together. But we will see. But Abhishek ji would like to add something. Abhishek ji, please.
प्रभु जी, मेटल क्रिएशन होने के बाद भी जैसे कि भगवान का जो इच्छा होता है वो दृष्टि डालते हैं माया देवी के प्रति, मेंटेनेशन हो भी जाए, डिवोर्सेस बन भी जाए।
अभिषेक जी सॉरी, आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी कट रही है, आवाज थोड़ी सी कट के आ रही है।
हरे कृष्णा।
हाँ जी, अभी अच्छी आ रही है जी। प्लीज आप एक बार फिर से बताएंगे प्लीज।
प्रभु जी, अगर मटेरियल यूनिवर्सेस क्रिएट हो भी जाती हैं, उसके बाद भी अगर विष्णु हर एक पार्टिकल के अंदर ना जाए, ब्रह्मांडों के अंदर प्रवेश ना करे, तो वो जो मैटर है वो मैटर की तरह एक्ट भी नहीं कर पाएगा। जैसे कि जो केमिकल रिएक्शंस हम लोग करते हैं केमिस्ट्री में या फिर जो भी, वो सब इसलिए बिकॉज भगवान सुपर सोल के फॉर्म में हर एक पार्टिकल के अंदर है। सो डेड मैटर एक्ट कर रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ प्रेजेंस ऑफ द लॉर्ड।
बहुत अच्छा जी, बिल्कुल अभिषेक जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि हम जिस तरीके से कहते हैं कि जो आत्मा है वो सभी लिविंग बीइंग्स के अंदर है। जो भी इंसान जिंदा है, जिसमें कॉन्शियसनेस है, उसमें आत्मा है। लेकिन जो चीजें जीवित नहीं है, जैसे कि आपने कहा डेड मैटर, कोई रॉक है, पत्थर है, ऐसी चीजें जिसे हम कहेंगे कि इसमें इसमें कोई कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं है, इसमें कोई चेतना नहीं है, ये डेड है, उसके अंदर आत्मा नहीं है, लेकिन परमात्मा उसमें भी है। और अगर वो परमात्मा ना हो तो वो डेड मैटर भी नहीं कहलाएगा। उसके एग्जिस्टेंस के लिए भगवान का वो अंश इसके अंदर होना जरूरी है। तो बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा, और वही चीज हम देखेंगे। और भागवतम के अंदर एक बहुत अच्छे इंसिडेंट आता है कि जब जो हमारा पूरा शरीर है, इसके ऊपर एक्चुअली एक रिसेंटली प्रेजेंटेशन भी बनाई है, हम वो भी देख सकते हैं कि पूरे शरीर के अंदर किस तरीके से महाविष्णु का ही एक जो विस्तार रूप हम भगवत गीता में देखते हैं, विराट रूप। तो विराट रूप में कैसे भगवान के अलग अलग अंगों के अंदर क्या क्या है वो हम देखते हैं। और हर अंग, हर इंद्री जो हमारी है वो एक देवी या देवता से चल रही है। तो जीवा देवी देवता उसके अंदर हमारी हेल्प कर रहे हैं, तब हम वो पा रहे हैं। हम चाहे नाक की बात करें, आंख की, कान की, मस्तिष्क की, हर चीज के लिए। लेकिन ये सब देवी देवता वहां हों तब भी ये शरीर, क्योंकि जो शरीर को हम डेड मैटर माने, तो भी ये शरीर काम नहीं करेगा जब तक परमात्मा का अंश इसके अंदर नहीं आएगा। तो ये बहुत विविडली, बहुत ही अच्छे से इलुस्ट्रेट करके श्रीमद् भागवतम के अंदर समझाया गया है that all these senses we have, they do need the demigods to work for their work, but even after that we need the Paramatma to make them work. And it's very interesting. We will come to that also. When we will see Mahatattva, we will try to see even more detail. So Prakriti. So now we are starting slowly, we are making it up. It says Prakriti. So Purush, Prakriti, and this concept is also there in Upanishads. So Purush, Prakriti का जो concept है, ये हमारे उपनिषदों में भी है। क्योंकि उपनिषद और पुराणों में, उपनिषद अक्सर अद्वैतवादी मानते हैं और पुराण जो है वो बहुत पर्सनल है, तो वो पर्सनलिस्ट जो होते हैं, द्वैत जो होते हैं, वो मानते हैं। तो हम ब्रह्मा माधव गौड़िया स्कंद जो हमारा है, हम उसको बिलोंग करते हैं, तो इस वजह से हम पुराणों को मानते हैं। लेकिन उपनिषदों के अंदर भी बहुत सारे ऐसे कंसेप्ट हैं जिन्हें हम ले सकते हैं। उसमें पुरुष स्पिरिचुअल है, प्रकृति मटेरियल है। एक अगर बहुत ही रफ गाइड इसको लें, सो दिस व्हाट वी सेइंग दैट प्रकृति मटेरियल नेचर इज इटर्नल। एंड Abhishek ji has explained very nicely on energy, that why energy is because we are marginal, but still why eternal is considered to be eternal. When non-manifested, now this is the word non-manifested, and a subtle form, it is non-pradhan, raw unassembled material substance. So now the difference between Prakriti and Pradhan is there. Raw material is Pradhan. Prakriti is actually manifested form. And then we will see later more. But for now, Pradhan and Prakriti could be understood the way we make chapati. So we make sabji or any of the food. We have the ingredients. They are raw. We cannot eat them straight away. We might have to combine them together. We have to cook them, boil them. And then it will change the form. It is still the same thing, but it will change the form. Now it will be edible. तो प्रकृति प्रधान को हम इस तरीके से समझ सकते हैं. प्रधान रॉ है. रॉ का मतलब बिल्कुल जिस तरीके से हम खाना बनाते हैं और हम बाजार से सब्जियां लाते हैं, वो सब्जियों को हम डायरेक्टली नहीं खा सकते. वो सब्जियां जो है वो प्रधान है. तो अभी भौतिक संसार जो बनने वाला है, उस भौतिक संसार के लिए जो जो चीजें चाहिए वो इंग्रेडिएंट्स है. वो हमारे पास जो चीजें हैं वो प्रधान के रूप में है. अब वो प्रधान आपस में, जो प्रधान के रूप में अलग अलग चीजें हैं, वो जब आपस में मिक्स होंगी और मिक्स होके, जैसे हम सब्जी लेते हैं, सब्जियां अलग अलग होती हैं, वेजिटेबल्स, उनको जब हम मिक्स करते हैं या कुक करते हैं या बॉईल करते हैं, उनकी शेप, उनकी फॉर्म, उनका टेस्ट, उनका टेक्सचर चेंज हो जाता है. वो सब्जियों को हम पहले नहीं खा सकते थे, लेकिन अब हम उनको खा सकते हैं. तो वो एडिबल है, खाने लायक है. So this is how we understand the difference between Prakriti and Pradhan. It's still the same thing if you think about it. Somebody will say, oh, this is potato. Yeah, it was potato before, it is potato now. But we have worked on it, right? And now it's much more edible. And so this is Pradhana will become Prakriti. Very, very rudely saying. The basic elements of creation are this Pradhan. So Pradhan is the raw material. प्रधान वो है जिससे प्रकृति अब शुरू होगी, पर ये बहुत बेसिक रूप में है. एंड बाय हिज ग्लांस काला शक्ति. दिस इज द वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम काला टाइम इज कमिंग आउट. हरे कृष्ण माता जी, you got your hands up?
Yes, Prabhuji. The Pradhan, any idea what it is like, or what it looks like, or what is its consistency?
We can consider them as the jivas, Mataji. Now, if there's a movie called Matrix is the beginning of the Matrix actually explains this concept. And even at the end, that's also based on this. There is actually another movie made that's also based on Brahman. It's the main, they have not used the word Brahman. The name of the movie is Lucy, Luci. That when at the end, somebody asked, so where is Lucy? Lucy was a female. And at the end, Lucy disappears and Lucy says, the message comes in the mobile and Lucy says, I am everywhere. And that's Brahman, everywhere. Right? And obviously it's a whole gradual development how Lucy, from just being a female, transforms into Brahman. That's the whole movie all about. But if you think about, there is no form as such, but what we can see, the jivas are there. And this is where I was mentioning the movie Matrix. So consider the jivas are there in the tummy of Mahavishnu. And these could be, I don't recall any description as such, because some people call, oh, we were in the, not for this, but some other forms, oh, we are there in the form of Jyoti. But those people, they usually refer to Brahm Jyoti. Abhishek ji got hands up. So Abhishek ji, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे, please. हरि बोल.
यस प्रभु जी, माता जी ने जो प्रश्न पूछा था, मैं सोचा उस पर कुछ हेल्प करो. एक्चुअली हम लोग को बहुत ही चूजी होना पड़ेगा अपने क्वेश्चंस को लेके. फॉर सपोज अगर मैं अभी पूछता हूँ, मतलब फॉर एक्सप्लेनिंग मैं पूछता हूँ कि अभी अगर हमारे आँख सामने ये जो अभी आप एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं रॉ अनअसेंबल्ड मटेरियल सब्सटेंस, अगर ये अभी हमारे आँख के सामने ला के रख दिया जाए तो क्या हम इसको देख पाएंगे? बिकॉज इट इज सटल. हम अपने मन को नहीं देख सकते ना, मन बुद्धि अहंकार. देन हाउ कैन वी इमेजिन? सो अगर ये सोच के डाउट में पड़ जाएंगे हम लोग कि वो कैसा होगा, बिकॉज ये इमेजिनेशन के परे है, ये महाविष्णु का क्रिएशन चल रहा है, ये सब कुछ स्पिरिचुअल हो रहा है, वी कैन नॉट इमेजिन इन चीजों को। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
जी, हरि बोल जी। Very nicely said, that it's very much beyond us, and that's the reason whenever I try to differentiate something, I say loosely translated or very rudely translated, because we have so much limitation in the language, and when we hear a word, we have our own description about it, and different people of the same word, they have different description about it. Right? So it's hard, it's very hard, but again, Mataji's question is very valid, and I don't recall the description of this pradhana is not available as much as I have read it, Mataji. But again, it's now when we continue, it says, so Kala Shakti, the time starts. So the time is going to work on pradhana. It's like the jivas were there. It goes from subtle to gross. Very nice. Thank you, Abhishek ji. Subtle to gross. Yes. So it's very, very subtle. This pradhana, raw material. Now on pradhana, the kala shakti, the time is going to work. जो प्रधान है, जो raw material है, उसके ऊपर जब time आएगा, ये पहली बार टाइम की उत्पत्ति हुई है, समय की उत्पत्ति हुई है, काल की उत्पत्ति हुई है, और ये भगवान ही है। भगवान खुद कहते हैं भगवत गीता में, मैं समय हूं, I am time, I am kala. And this is what we're saying, the basic element of creation are this pradhana. By his glance is giving kala shakti, time starts. Now the time is going to start, and then jiva, which is pradhana, now jiva is going to transform with their karma. So until that kala, that karma didn't start, because you never know how long you're going to be. Anyways, pradhan is not going to do any karma. Only now the prakriti is going to get developed. So jivas will transform with their karma. तो ऐसे सोचें कि जीवा है, एक बच्चा है, वो माँ के पेट में है, तो जैसे हम हैं, हम जीवात्मा, हम महाविष्णु के पेट में हैं, और फिर जब समय शुरू होता है, जो महाविष्णु ही शुरू करते हैं, जब हमारा समय शुरू होता है, जब ब्रह्मांड हमारे लिए नया तैयार हो गया और अब हम उस ब्रह्मांड में जाने वाले हैं, तब से हमारा समय शुरू हो रहा है, तब से हमारे जो पुराने कर्म थे वो हमारे साथ जाएंगे, और जो नए कर्म हम करने वाले हैं वो उसके लिए हम तैयार हो रहे हैं. So we are getting ready, and that glance is showed in the form of Shivling, which we worship. Hari Bol. Yes. Now we will see Shambhu, and then the Shiva. So now we move forward. When Prakriti manifests, it turns into Mahatat. Now Prakriti manifests. Now two words, Pradhana, Kala, then Prakriti. So first we had Pradhana, then the time comes in, then Prakriti is going to start, and everything turns into Mahatat. And this Mahatat is where everything is ready for the material creation. तो हम देखें कि सबसे पहले रॉ मटेरियल थे प्रधान, जो माने तो हम ही थे, जीव थे महाविष्णु के पेट में, लेकिन कोई समय नहीं है, हम जितने मर्जी सालों वहां पे रुक सकते हैं. जब समय शुरू हुआ, तब अब वो जीव अपने पुराने कर्मों के साथ में नए कर्म बनाने के लिए अब तैयार है, उसको हम प्रकृति कह रहे हैं, और अब वो प्रकृति महातत्व के रूप में तैयार हो रही है. अब यहां से मटीरियल चीजें शुरू होंगी. तो काला भी स्पिरिचुअल है, और कर्म भी काफी हद तक अभिषेक जी ने बताया था कि हम स्पिरिचुअल मानते हैं. जीवा तो हम स्पिरिचुअल हैं ही. तो जीवा, काला, कर्म, everything is spiritual. Now when all this will change into prakriti, and prakriti is turning into mahatattva, that's where rest of the material things are coming in. What are those rest? We will see in detail. Yes, Abhishek ji has used the word agitate. This is Kala agitates the Pradhan and converts into Mahatat. Now, the best example I can give is like, it's in chemistry, we used to use catalyst. So catalyst is there. If we have a milk, we can put the sugar. With time, that sugar will dissolve in the milk. But if we use the spoon and rotate it, churn it, the sugar will dissolve much, much, much faster. Either we use the time or we use the finger or the spoon. These things are called catalyst. And the catalyst will transform. And similarly, if we have milk, we can churn it, it will become cream. And then, so the same thing is transforming into other by the use of something. This is what agitates is. Pradhana is there, but the Kala in the form of catalyst coming and transforming Pradhan into Mahatat. तो जिस तरीके से हम देखते हैं कहीं एक फॉर्म से दूसरी फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है, तो जो प्रधान हमारे पास रॉ मटेरियल है उसके ऊपर जब काला शक्ति काम करती है तो वो महातत्व में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है. अभिषेक जी प्लीज. हरे कृष्ण.
एंड प्रभु जी, ये जो जैसे काल जब पड़ता है प्रधान के ऊपर, तो इस काल में ही मतलब इसी को संबंधित होता है, इसी में सारी जीवात्माएं ऑलरेडी मिक्सअप हो जाती है महातत्व में, एंड देन इट एंटर्स इनटू द ईच एंड एवरी ब्रह्मांड. सो ऐसे जीवात्माएं सारी ब्रह्मांड में प्रवेश करती है.
हरे कृष्ण जी. अभिषेक जी लास्ट की आपका सुनाई नहीं दिया, लेकिन जो शुरू में आपने कहा वो बिल्कुल सही कि ये जीव आत्माएं सारी हैं जो एक ब्रह्मांड में जाने के लिए तैयार हैं. वो सारी जीव आत्माएं हमारे पास में हैं. वो सारी जीव आत्माएं महातत्व में तैयार हो रही हैं एक ब्रह्मांड के लिए. हो सकता है महाविष्णु के पेट में 10 जीव आत्माएं थी, लेकिन पहले ब्रह्मांड के में जाने के लिए सिर्फ 4 जीव आत्माएं तैयार हैं. मैं नंबर कम दे रहा हूं, ये मिलियंस में है. जैसे हम we are 8 billion jivatmas here. Oh, well, these are the humans, they are animals, they are trees and everyone. But those millions of jivatmas, they are ready. They will transform. That pradhana will transform into mahatattva for this brahmand. Right. So this pradhan is not one. This is the combination of all, a lot of jivas. तो जैसे अभिषेक जी ने कहा कि एक ब्रह्मांड में जाने के लिए जितनी जीवात्माएं हैं वो सारी की सारी प्रधान से उनके ऊपर काल काम करेगा और वो महातत्व में कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगी. अब यहां से हमारा मटेरियल क्रिएशन शुरू. अब हम जो भी बात करेंगे वो मटेरियल में चलता चला जाएगा. अभी भी ब्रह्मांड शुरू नहीं हुआ है. Still, if we think about it, the material world has not started. We have not talked about that. But the ingredients for the material world, they are getting ready. By glance of Mahavishnu, the jivas come out of his body, and Rama Devi carries the function of the glance, which is Durga. So Rama Devi and Durga, they are also same, but the function is by another expansion, right? So it says Krishna doesn't kill the demons. Whenever Krishna needs to kill, then Krishna takes the form of Vishnu and that Vishnu kills. So Vasudeva Krishna is another name. तो जिस तरीके से हम कहते हैं कि कृष्णा कभी किसी डीमन को नहीं मारते, कृष्णा की ही एक एक्सपेंशन होती है जिसको हम वासुदेव, और बहुत सारे हैं, लेकिन अगर हम वासुदेव कृष्णा कह देते हैं, वो जाके अगर किसी डीमन को मारते हैं तो रियल कृष्ण नहीं. तो इसी तरीके से जो रमा देवी है, रमा देवी से दुर्गा देवी निकल रही हैं, और ये दुर्गा देवी है. अब वो सारे के सारे जो जीवाज महाविष्णु के पेट में थे वो रमा देवी लेकर दुर्गा देवी के रूप में तैयार है. अब आगे अगर हम देखेंगे, रमा देवी's glance is effulgent and creates a, this is halo, this is aura, which is the form of Shambhu. Now this is the very first time we hear Shambhu. So Rama Devi in the form of Durga Devi is ready. The shadow is Durga Devi. Durga Devi is ready. But Durga Devi is not alone. Shambhu is going to come. And and Shambhu is spiritual. Rama Devi hands over the Jivas and Kala Shakti to Shambhu. So Rama Devi comes in. Rama Devi got everything, Durga Devi got everything from Rama Devi. Rama Devi got it from Mahavishnu. Now Durga Devi handovers the Jivas and Kala Shakti, which is actually now Mahatattva, right? And hand over that to Shambhu. That's why Shambhu is considered as the very first Adi Purusha. It says he's the Adi Purusha because he's the one now. Now, sometimes people will say, oh, Durga Devi is the mother of all. Well, that's true because everything was in Durga Devi's control. Durga Devi gave it to Shambhu, and Shambhu is considered as Adi Purusha. Well, that's also correct. So if you have that correct understanding, then all this. Okay, another point is Shambhu at this point is still a Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva. If we remember, when we saw the Vaikuntha, in Vaikuntha, northeast side, northeast, if we'll see, there is a Shiva there. And that Shiva is actually Vishnu Tattva. I'm looking at the name. There was a name for it. I think it said Isha.
Five-headed.
Yes.
Ishan.
Ishan. And that's the reason, if you would know, Isha Foundation is also there. Sadhguruji. And Sadhguruji is also, he says that I am there is a particular word he uses, not the disciple, but he says, not even the follower, but something similar. He says, I'm the follower of or disciple of Adi Purusha. And there is a big shivling in his main temple. And the name is Isha. And that comes from, if we see the Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha, in that chart on the northeast side. So Shambhu is also Vishnu Tattva. From here, if we come back to our Goloka chart, then, and maybe that's where we end, and next session we will start Shambhu. So again, just to recap, from Krishna, we get Sankarshan 1, or Balram, Sankarshan 1, then Narayan, then Sankarshan 2. From Sankarshan 2, we get Mahavishnu, because he is Karno, the causal ocean, Viraj ocean, Viraj river. He is called Karno Dakshaya Vishnu. From his pores, numerous universes coming out. Rama Devi comes out from the glance. From Rama Devi, Durga Devi, called Maya Devi, comes out. The time has originated now, and the time and the jivas are handed over to Maya Devi, and she hands them over to Shambhu. Or we say both of them together now going to take it further. And it's 30 past 10 now. Next session, we will start Shambhu. And from Shambhu, so Shambhu is there, Durga Devi is there, and they are called divine couple. So Radha and Krishna are there, but those who consider is for them, especially for the material world. So Radha and Krishna, they are the spiritual divine couple, right? But if you think about the material world, all the material ingredients, Pradhana, Kala, Mahatattva, they are there with Shambhu and Durgaji, or what we call it, Shiv. And so Shivji is not there yet. Shivji will, another form of Shambhu will come out, and that will be Shivji. And we don't have Shambhu in the material world. We have Shivji in material world. And then Shivji will be Shiva Tattva. Shambhu is Vishnu Tattva. And these tattvas in form of gunas are different. What they do, what can they do? Oh, because they are, so we will discuss them. But then obviously later on we get Rudras. So there are many different forms of, and there is a Sadashiv in a spiritual world. So Sadashiv, Shambhu, Shivji, Rudra. These are the main Shivji forms. And some are Vishnu Tattva, some are Shiv Tattva. But we will consider and discuss them. And then after that, we will go in detail of Mahatattva. Mahatattva, we have not yet. In Mahatattva, we will see 25 different tattvas, or 24 or 25 different tattvas. Some people consider 24, some says 25. If you will say 25, we will cover 24 in it. and we will see what are the 24 material elements of this material world. And from there on, we will start material world and we will see 14 planetary system. It's going to get very exciting.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so
Hare
much. Looking forward to see everyone next Saturday at the same time.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
With that, Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Gurudev ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Masti. Then with Hare Krishna,
Hare
Abhishek ji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Then